Monday, September 25th, 7 o'clock p.m. All board members are present, including our 2 student representatives to the school board. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That'll bring us to approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve tonight's agenda? Second?
Second? I don't know who was which.
Any discussion on the agenda? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That brings us to recognition of students, staff, and public. And the first thing on there is introduction of our new school board representative from Jefferson. So if you'll join me up at the podium.
This is the only one, huh? Yeah.
We'll be introducing Jackson Damagala here. And Ethan Skophammer is continuing on. I believe, Mr. Holman, will you be presenting the oath this evening? Jackson is a junior over at Jefferson. He's a member of the student council, loves basketball, is an NBA enthusiast. He says, of course, his favorite team is the Timberwolves. I thought that was too easy. Thought it should have been like the 96 Bulls or something like that. And he's starting a new podcast. That was something I just learned about him this evening. He said, I used to have a podcast. That one retired. We're starting up a new one. So, I'll get you the name when we get to that part. And the reason why he was interested in being with us on the school board is he said he really just wanted to be more involved and be able to make meaningful changes in the district. So thank you very much. Our attorney will provide you with the oath of office. Thank you.
Jackson, I'm going to ask you to swear the oath of office. If you'd raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jackson Damagala,
I, Jackson Damagala,
affirm that I will support the Constitution
affirm that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
and that I will discharge faithfully
and that I will discharge faithfully
the duties of the student representative
the duties of the student representative
to the School Board of Independent School District number 271,
to the School Board of the Independent School District of 271,
Bloomington Public Schools,
Bloomington Public Schools,
to the best of my judgment and ability.
to the best of my judgment and ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So help me God. Oh, it's America. And that will bring us down to our Indigenous Peoples' Day proclamation. And I'll invite Andy Kubis
Thank you.
up.
Mr. Chair.
Sure.
Be resolved, the School Board of Independent School District 271 approves the attached proclamation proclaiming Monday, October 9th, 2017 as Indigenous Peoples' Day in the Bloomington Public Schools. Second?
Mr. Kubis?
Superintendent Fujitaki, Chair Oliva, School Board, we're really excited about this opportunity. This is a day that I know the American Indian community has looked forward to as we recognize the culture and the contributions of the group. What I have with me is Patty Weitenheimer. Patty's been a long-standing member of our American Indian Parent Advisory Committee, so been a great partner for us, and I invite her to say a few words about this distinction.
Thank you. In the first language of my grandparents, I say miigwech. Thank you for declaring the second Monday in October Indigenous Peoples' Day. We're very proud, and I commend you for your decision. It shows your commitment to creating awareness, and it shows your commitment to furthering education for our students and our families in Bloomington. So, well done. Thank you.
I'm going to wait because we hadn't voted yet, so we should.
Read the
I can read the proclamation. Yeah. Sometimes I get these things out of order. I'm not sure. Am I supposed to read it first? We vote on it first? Okay, so here's the proclamation. Whereas the land now known as the state of Minnesota has been home to the indigenous peoples since time immemorial, and without whom the building of this state would not have been possible. And whereas indigenous peoples have made essential contributions to the landscape of Minnesota, including traditional knowledge, experience, labor, technology, science, philosophy, industry, arts, as well as their cultural belief system that stipulates indigenous peoples as protectors and stewards of our natural environment for the benefit of all. And whereas Independent School District 271 joins a growing number of government entities across the country that have recognized the second Monday of October as Indigenous Peoples' Day in order to promote appreciation, tolerance, reconciliation, understanding, friendship, and continued partnerships among all of its people and the indigenous peoples of this land. Now, therefore, we, the Bloomington School Board, hereby proclaim Monday, October 9th, 2017, to be Indigenous Peoples' Day in the Bloomington Public Schools. We encourage all staff, students, families, and residents to join in celebrating the collective ingenuity, creativity, cultures, and traditions of indigenous peoples, and to continue honoring the contribution of indigenous peoples throughout the year. So let's vote on this one. If we all approve. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you very much. And that will bring us now to the Student School Board Representative reports. Ethan, would you like to go first?
All right. First, I would like to reintroduce myself. I'm Ethan Scopehammer, and I am from Kennedy High School. So from Kennedy, it has been an amazing start to our school year. Students are looking forward to creating a special environment throughout the school year. The first couple of weeks have felt like a rush. It's hard to believe that we're coming up on 1 month of school. We have had a very successful blood drive with 79 donors, and I was told by Memorial Blood Service that we have had the most double blood donors. So that's pretty cool. We are recognizing our amazing honors students on Thursday, the 28th, with a breakfast for those who have a GPA of 3.5 or higher. We will be having nearly 400 people in attendance. The freshmen are going on a retreat. Half will be going tomorrow, and the other half will be going on Friday. And next week is homecoming week, and our royalty is extremely excited to show off their school spirit along with the rest of the school. Kennedy students absolutely love the flex space that have been implemented. I've only heard good things about how it is being utilized. And our fall sports teams have had a great start and look to continue to succeed as they near the end of the season.
Thank you. Mr. Damagala, would you like to go next?
Yes, I'm Jackson Amagala, a junior at Jefferson High School. This is my first year doing the board, and it being homecoming week, the school is participating in a spirit week leading up to homecoming on Saturday. Different themed days are like pajama day to class colors. The Jefferson's homecoming court was today at Pep Fest, where the king and queen were decided, Nate Chow being the king and Katie Weston winning queen. At Jefferson, 4 seniors have been named semifinalists in the 2018 National Merit Scholarship Program. The Jefferson Theater Company will perform You Can Take It With You at 7 p.m. October 5th through the 7th and 3 p.m. October 7th through the 8th in the Jefferson High School Auditorium. Earlier this month, the football team, cheerleaders, and the band participated in the annual Bloomington Heritage Day Parade. A great day for all the families to see what Jefferson was really all about. But one of the biggest upsides of Jefferson this year is the renovated common areas. With completely new booths, tables, and benches, it provides the perfect learning environment. Not only that, there are new flex spaces around the whole school. Students and teachers are enjoying the new areas and finding ways to enhance their educational experience. I personally use the flex space once a day, and it provides an easy and quiet place to get schoolwork done. And lastly, Friday night, the Jaguars face off against Kennedy for their homecoming game at 7 p.m.
Thank you for the reports. And that'll now bring us to recognition of the public. Is there anyone who wishes to address the school board on an item that is not on this evening's agenda? Seeing none come forward, we'll move on to Part A of our agenda. Can I get a motion to approve Part A as stated in our board packet?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Part A of the agenda includes board business, field trips, contracts, agreements, and finance, and our general business. All those in favor of approving Part A as stated, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. That now brings us right along to Part B. First, we have approval and ratification of the 2017-19 master contract between Independent School District 271 and the Federation of Paraprofessionals. Who'd like to take this one? We didn't sort these out beforehand, sorry, we had to get our pictures
Mr.
in.
Chair, be it resolved that the school district, the Independent School District Number 271 approves and ratifies the 2017-19 master contract between the Independent School District 271, Bloomington, Minnesota, and the Federation of Paraprofessionals.
Second.
Okay, Chair Oliva, Superintendent Fujitaki, and members of the school board, I'm happy to bring the para contract to you tonight for consideration and for approval. But before I start going through all the terms that we've reached, I wanted to allow Bill to introduce himself and say a few words, since I believe this is the first time that you've addressed the school board since you've become para president.
Correct. I'm Bill Schwant. I am the new president of the Para Federation. I replaced Sue Vacanti, who served in this role for 2 months. I was appointed by Brad as he exited as the vice president, so that would technically make me the Gerald Ford of union leaders, having never been elected. I'm happy to say that I will be the president for the next 2 years, since nobody else has stepped up to challenge me for the position. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm willing to take on the role for the next 2 years. I looked forward to this opportunity to come and meet with you and introduce myself on a situation that we're here and we're showing an agreement and that we've reached a contract for the next 2 years. I hope that we continue to have a great relationship between the paraprofessionals and the board, and we can continue to get great things done here in the Bloomington School District.
Okay.
Thank you for being here.
So I'll go ahead and go over the terms that we've reached. It does include a wage schedule improvement of 39 cents to each cell on the salary schedule, excluding longevity for 2017-2018, and 40 cents to each cell on salary schedule, excluding longevity, 2018-2019. In addition, the tentative agreement includes the following. We added language about access to membership lists. We updated district posting language, added new language about president release, and removed redundant language that was in the contract. Removed the additional minimum hours per year requirement for insurance. Previously agreed to out-of-network, out-of-pocket maximums for health insurance. It also included increase to district health insurance contribution both years, HSA contribution second year per the IRS. Sick leave lowered accrual minimum to those who work 3 hours per day. Use of sick leave, we updated language to reflect changes in care relatives, safety, and pregnancy leave. Bereavement, we clarified days allowed for those. And duty-free lunch, we added language to clarify lunch expectations. And then regular housekeeping changes, so dates changing throughout the contract to be reflected to the new contract years. And with that, I will say bargaining went very well. I think this last time, I think people stayed focused and we really sought to find solutions to things. And so, yeah, I hope, I'm glad we don't have to do it again for another year and a half, but yeah, to continue working forward positively on things as we're doing, so. With that, I'd like to recommend approval.
Are there any questions or comments for the team?
Mr. Chair,
Director Bergstrom?
first of all, let me say thank you for coming. Bill, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for your service to our district and to your wife's service.
Thank you.
I wouldn't take your appointment to the position as anything but a positive. I'm sure you'll do a fine job. I'm that one guy that needs to sort of prattle on at the beginning of all these contracts. I try to remain consistent in my voting. I know that many people would call me on it if I wasn't. I'll be the one person voting no. My no vote does not carry with it any animosity towards any members of any bargaining groups. I'm simply concerned with the long-term sustainability of the contracts. So with that, I'll let it go around for other comments, but I felt that a no vote deserved an explanation, or at least my attempt at one.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, since I was the board representative for this negotiation, I just want to say that, it was a pleasure to work with you. You did a great job, and Mary did a wonderful job as well, so
Thank you very much.
that's all.
Anybody else? No? Okay, well, we'll do a little roll call on this one because we know sort of what's going to happen here. So we'll start over here with Director Sagoff.
Yes.
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 No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
And that will bring us to, what's the next one? Custodial.
That the School Board of Independent School District Number 271 approve and ratify the 2017-19 negotiated contract between the school district and the custodial, maintenance, and transportation employees, SEIU Local 284.
Second.
Okay, this is the last of the contracts that I'm bringing forward for this negotiation season, if you want to round of bargaining. And I am recommending approval of the contract changes. So the summary of those changes are salary schedule improvements of 2% for 2017-2018 and 1.9% for 2018-19. In addition, the tentative agreement included the following: increases to Schedule C of 2% for 17-18 and 1.9% for 2018-19. Restructuring of wage schedules and addition of pipe fitter stipends. We did a lot of restructuring on the schedule, and it took a lot of work on both sides for the groups to agree to the way that things were restructured. And I think we actually went through that very well in this bargaining round. We also changed previously agreed to out-of-network, out-of-pocket maximums for health insurance for IRS regulations. Increase the district health insurance contribution both years and HSA contribution second year. Language clarification throughout contract and housekeeping changes. We also added an MOU regarding true time. And with that, I would welcome any questions. And
So I do see this one's different in that it's a 2 and 1.9 instead of 2 and 2 like we've done for most of the other groups. Can you just care to comment on that?
we use some of that additional money for the restructuring on the schedules. Yep.
Thank you. Anybody else? Director Skyo?
I'll just say that I was the board representative on this contract, and once again, I thought the group worked very well and, spent a considerable amount of time trying to, restructure it, and I thought it went very well, and everybody was, very pleasant experience to work with, so it was a great group of people to work on it.
I think we really tried to find solutions and what meant the most to the group. So.
And we actually did have a tentative agreement, like at the end of August, right? And then they just had to bring it to their membership. Is that
Right. Yep.
accurate?
August 22nd.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So, Director Storm?
Mary, did you say that this represents the last of the collective bargaining groups, so all bargaining groups have been ratified?
That is correct.
Depending on our vote, would be the last of the
Yep.
group. Thank you.
All right. Start down here again.
Yes?
Yes.
Aye, yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
No.
So with that, as Director Storm was alluding to, I'd like to just congratulate everybody. I've only been paying attention to negotiations for about 6 years, but I have to say this one seems like it's the smoothest one that I've seen. And from what I hear, this one went a lot faster than what is, I guess, our average time to get these done. Would that be a fair statement? So just congratulations to you and your team and for everyone involved for making this happen. So thank you.
I think I'm supposed to give a negotiations update as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey,
But
I
I
was
just
just,
kind of.
I was just looking down at
Jim
my next
jumped the
thing.
gun.
So negotiations, okay, was the update that we're done?
Yeah,
Okay.
the updates that were done, and we will be bargaining free for about a year and a half, and we'll try to get an early start next time if everybody agrees to that again. So it seemed to work well, and everyone seemed to be pretty focused this go around, so.
Well, thank you again.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Mary.
All right. So that brings us to number 4, proposed 2017 payable 2018 property tax levy. Executive Director of Finance, Rod Zivkovich.
Mr. Chair, would you like me to read this one?
Yes, please.
All right. Be it resolved, the School Board of Independent School District 271 approves the property tax levy for proposed 2017 payable 2018 levy of $52,072,017. Be it further resolved that in the event of any changes to levy amounts by the Minnesota Department of Education, it is the intent of the School Board of Independent School District 271 to levy the appropriate amount as allowed by law. The state requires that districts use the term maximum on the certification sheet to allow these corrections to the levy.
Second.
Rod, what you got for us?
Chair Oliva, Superintendent Fujitaki, board members. This is kind of the start of the 2018-19 budgeting process. We kind of have 3 years that we're working on right now all together. We're working on ending the audit for the 16-17 year. We're start of the 17-18 school year. And now we're starting to process through the 18-19 budget. So the objective of tonight's presentation is to prepare the school board to make a decision on the preliminary levy. The board will need to approve this preliminary levy tonight. And we'll be reviewing some information on truth and taxation process, and then also kind of the data relating to the Pay 18 levy information. So the overall process is that after the board's approval tonight, the district will have to submit to the county information. That information then is done to prepare tax statements that are sent to taxpayers in November. We come back in December with the truth and taxation budget update information, and then also finalizing the levy, actual levy for the next year. And then those numbers are used by the county to actually develop tax forms for the next year. The state provided us a first round of information on September 8th. Tonight, we're going to finalize that information. We need to provide that to the, as I mentioned, to the counties by September 30th. And then on the 11th, we'll do a final submission. So the MDA calculates our levy into 5 major categories: referendum, referendum other, which is our equity aid, which is a comparison of our aid versus other within the region; community services levies, our debt service, our bonds, and principal and interest payments, and then all other levies. And as was mentioned in the resolution, the board has a choice either to levy a certain dollar amount or levy a maximum amount, remembering that whatever the board levies to date will be what is put in. We can't go above that unless there is an election like we're having in November. So if we look at the referendum, if you look back in Pay 2016, our referendum revenue was at $12.5 million. We had adjustments of $97,000. So the total levy for the referendum was $12,400,000. If you move forward to 2 years later, you see it at $13.5 for the base referendum. Our adjustments are at $172,000. So $13.3 million difference. So it's the increase between the 2 years is just under $1 million. And remembering with our referendum, this is built off of our enrollment and also has an inflationary increase each year built into between the 2 years.
So just, can I stop you right there? I have a quick question about the prior year adjustment. Is that based on enrollment, as you're saying, or?
Right, the basic
Okay.
is enrollment, so it just, up to 2 prior years, as I mentioned, we're making a decision right now about the 18-19 school year. So we're really estimating numbers. We provided estimated numbers within this levy before we even finalized our October 1 counts for 17-18.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So the equity levy, the top equity revenue item is what I mentioned earlier, where we talked about that it's based on your disparity within the region between the highest and lowest revenue districts. The next item there is a $300 approved part of that was shifted about 4 years ago, that was shift from voter approved to board approved levy of $300. Location equity, and then prior year adjustments again. So if you look at it, pretty much we have a slight reduction in the equity levy from $9.3 million down to $9.1 million. Community Services Fund, you see the base year of 2016 of $1.6 million, adjustment of $46,000, or just under $1.7 million, compared to moving forward of $1.8 million. The increase for this, in this area, they're kind of twofold. One is some of the additional early childhood money that has come through over the last couple of years, and then also our disabled access of after-school care that has increased over the last couple of years. Debt service, looking at debt service, back in 2016, 10,008 was the principal and interest payments. We had an adjustment of $442,000, or the net levy of $10,300,000. If you move forward, you can kind of see with the debt service, the basic is at the 10.8. The difference there, remembering that the state requires us to levy 105% of our principal and interest payments on a yearly basis, and then they go back and adjust it over time. What's happening is, in this year of pay 18, we've recovered all of our adjustments for the prior year. So we're at kind of an even mark. So it's kind of a false positive increase in our levy in this area. More than likely what we'll see in pay 19 would be a negative number in this category again. So looking at overall, if you kind of look at the difference between the 2 periods of time, you take the difference between the adjustment area, you're pretty much flat between the 2016 and 2017 year. So if we look at our overall levy for 2016, it was at $50,255,000. Our pay 18 amount is at $52,072,072, or up $1.8 million between the 2-year period of time. You can kind of see the pieces of that. Looking at the spreadsheet here is $988,000 is referendum, and as I mentioned before, that's basically built off of enrollment changes and also inflationary increase built into the voter-approved levy. And then the debt service is more of that adjustment between years of the prior year adjustment of the $500,000. And this, on average, what we're showing here is between the 2 years, we've been growing at about 1.8% in our overall levy. Kind of take a look at it in another perspective of kind of comparing our operating referendum versus non-operating referendum pieces. You can kind of see the same numbers here. It's kind of a split between the two of operating referendum, when you take that equity into account there, it's about $843,000 increase, and then the non-part is a $973,000 increase. We've worked with the city and county over the years of trying to give people an idea of how this impacts their taxes over time. Looking at pay 2016, a median value home was at just under $220,000. The county, city, and school district taxes on a home of that value were $2,950. School district $880. You move forward to 2018. The median home is at $246,000, or up almost $27,000, or 12.2%. The county, city, and school district levy, $3,109, up 5.4%. The school district up $13, or 1.4% over that 2-year period of time. So as I mentioned earlier, the next steps is for the board to certify the preliminary levy this evening. That information will then be provided to the counties and the state by September 30th. Based on the maximum, if there's any changes in enrollment, changes in any of the calculations from the state, or any errors in the state projections before September 30th, they'll make those adjustments to make sure that we do not under levy because of a formula or information error. And then the final levy will be brought to the board on December 11th. Questions?
Okay, who'd like to go first? Any questions? Director Sygoff?
I don't have a question. I just wanted to make sure you all knew that the Citizens Financial Advisory Committee did approve this at their meeting, too. They looked at it, and that was the topic of discussion at the last meeting, and they all approved it, so.
Anybody else?
It's pretty straightforward, as much as all of this information can be straightforward.
Sure.
As much as
Dr. Sorum?
as much as it can be, as much as the numbers can be. The article in the paper this morning was talking about Hennepin County increasing their taxes almost 9%, and the city of Bloomington was 5%. So our increase in taxes is quite significantly lower, and yet, you know, it still represents a slight increase. But that's going to be a question that we're asked when we go around all the time, is how come they're so high? You know, well, you know, anybody that's anti-tax is naturally going to be concerned about Hennepin County and the city. And we're in a more fortunate situation because we aren't taxing much, right?
And, well, we discussed this in the Citizen Advisory Committee, and they stated that it was showing that we were being very prudent with how we handled our property taxes and levy over the years. Remembering one thing here, this does not have in it the possible voter-approved levy that will be voted on in November.
That change anyone's mind? Any other questions?
I think it's still nice to see that, you know, property values going up 12.2% and school taxes going up 1.4%. So that's something to be happy about. Yeah, your taxes are going up 1.4%, but look how much your houses have appreciated in 2 years. That's, I mean, 12% in 2 years, that's, you know, really good. So.
And that was, again, what a lot of the Citizens Advisory was stating, that it showed, you know, prudent management on our part.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You know, the irony is when I bought my first house in Bloomington and they showed me the proposed property taxes, they're like, no, that's good. They valued it low, so your taxes will be lower.
Yeah.
So, you know, I guess it's depending on if you're buying or selling.
Yeah.
You want it to go one way or the other.
Going to
So.
refinance or something, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So, Any other questions? No? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, thank you. And that'll bring us to, I believe, the Verizon lease agreement? Yeah. So Rod, someone want to read that one for us?
Be it resolved, the School Board of Independent School District 271 approves a lease agreement for a light pole at Oak Grove Elementary and authorizes administration to enter into a contract with Verizon Wireless.
Second.
What can you tell us about this?
The board has seen many times the district coming to them with mainly renew contracts for antennas for different cell towers and the rest that we've had on our property. We're kind of doing a pilot with Verizon of some lower towers where they just have one satellite on it or one to be able to do some testing to see if that's the direction they're going to start looking at doing, being able to do smaller ones, shorter ones in more areas. So it's kind of our partnering with Verizon to see how this new technology works.
Any questions about this agreement?
Well, and they're paying us good money for their test to see if it works, so it's good.
Excuse me,
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I
Sure.
haven't quite finished reading the 30 pages of the agreement yet, so it'll be a while.
All weekend.
But as long as our attorney has read it and it's okay, they really go to extent on these leases.
Yeah, it seems easy. We get money for something that's just sitting there anyways, not making us anything, so. It doesn't, they don't,
Yeah, right.
as far as we know, Verizon, their towers don't cause cancer, and I could use some better signal at my house if they want to put one over
And we
there.
make sure that there's, if they have issues, that they don't disrupt the school during any time during the school days.
Sure.
So,
Okay, so, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Rod.
thank you.
That brings us to Pathways Advisory Committee update. Now, welcome Eric, Assistant Superintendent Eric Melby.
Thank you. Chair Oliva, Superintendent Fujitaki, and members of the school board. My time with you tonight, 2 items, but the first one about the Pathways Advisory Committee. You want me to, is it okay to jump in, Chair Oliva?
Sure.
We, for the last few years since the World's Best Workforce Law came into effect, we've always had a curriculum committee of some kind in the district, and when World's Best Workforce Law came into effect in 2013, I believe, we designated that committee as the Pathways Advisory Committee. There's a board policy on it, and there's state statute on what that committee works on and who the members of the committee should be. And one of the listing in the statute talks about students, staff, parents, teachers, community members, and we have not had a student actually serving on the Pathways Advisory Committee. We were trying to take it a little easy on students with time commitments and everything else, and we've got student representatives on the school board, and we have the Student Advisory Committee. But when we turn in our World's Best Workforce Plan every year, the state gives us feedback on it. And our feedback last year was it would be great to have students serving on your Pathways Advisory Committee. So I'm here to give you that update, I guess, and through Chair Oliva, look for the board to endorse us finding student representatives for the Pathways Advisory Committee. We would do that by working through the high schools and finding student leaders who are willing to take part in the Pathways Advisory Committee.
So I guess where it came to me is I talked to Dr. John Mitchell. She had called me asking about getting in front of the students for curriculum talk, but then also brought up this topic of the Pathways Advisory Committee, saying that, yeah, we sort of got, that was our feedback this year. And I said, I'll have to take that one on me, because I think I was the one that really sort of pushed and said, you know what, we don't need to have them on that, because we have our student reps and we have the student advisory council, and no one's paying attention anyways. And I learned something very important that,
Someone is paying
yes, they are
attention.
paying attention. So that was a good learning experience. And I believe Director Corman was there saying, no, we really need to have these students here. And so I'll have to apologize, say, you were right. So it's on tape. You can always rewind that one and play it back for me anytime. So yes, so you were right on that one.
How many years was that? 6 years?
Finally, right?
Finally.
Finally, somebody
yeah.
said it.
But then I said, but since this is a board committee, we need to bring it to the board because the board approves the composition. I can't imagine we would say no, but since it's a board committee, we needed to have Eric come and give us this information so that way we could approve them to go forward. And then when they bring their list of members, it should include, I'm guessing our goal would be to have 2 high schools, one from each high school, to have the opportunity to represent the students.
Yes.
So. we'll have to-
Maybe our representatives can go twist some arms over there at their respective high schools and get some members to join.
That's a great opportunity.
Or maybe they want to do it.
Yeah,
Maybe they
want
want to do it. I don't want to volunteer
Yeah.
them for that.
Bertram, you're going to say?
No, I was just going to echo Tom's sentiment. I think we have a couple of great resources sitting right at this table that can work through the individual schools and see who's ready to rock and roll and who wants this opportunity. That'll be something that you can take into school tomorrow.
I think they need some guidance, like
Yeah, I was going to say, could you at least
Yeah.
let them know how
how
often it
many
meets?
meetings there
What-
are, or
what
what the
it
meetings
is.
are about.
I'm sure Eric would be more than willing to
Yeah.
hand a description of what we're looking for.
Yep, and I will be working back with the administration from both high schools to, it's not all on you guys, just to let you know. We'll take your help, but it's a committee that meets, has traditionally met 4 times a year, from 7 till 9, every the first Monday of the months that it meets. We had discussions last year and we'll likely meet a little more often than 4 times a year this year. And the World's Best Workforce Law, when you look at our Pathways to Graduation graphic that you see in buildings all over the district, is really a reflection of our strategic plan and also what the World's Best Workforce Law looks for, which is districts to have a plan to have students preschool ready, kindergarten ready, on course for elementary success, and so on, up till college and career ready. And so part of this committee's work is hearing what we're doing in the district to help students, meet those milestones on the pathways. Give recommendations to the school board in terms of direction, in terms of curriculum, course of study, things like that. So it would be really interesting to have a student voice on that committee when we're talking about curricular areas. That's the primary purpose of the committee. And then there's just good, rich conversations around data that we're seeing that we have to report to the state, program decisions that are being made, curriculum decisions that are being made, things like that.
So is it just one student from each school or high
Yes.
school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was there a limit to how many students you could have?
If we had 5 students who wanted to show up from each high school,
Yeah.
we'd probably welcome all 5 students.
You'd want so
Yeah.
minimum is what you're looking for is
Right.
one from each student, one from each high school. Okay.
Or is the rest of the composition, generally what it was in the past, it was a representative and an alternate from each of the schools?
Yes.
And then we had, I think, it was either last year or the year before, we increased it also then to include, wasn't there some from OEE and?
Yes, yep, so there's representatives, the principals basically nominate or put forth representatives from their buildings, and then we have representatives from the other advisory committees that serve in the district, so Special Education Advisory Committee, Community Education Advisory Committee, Office of Educational Equity has a representative there because of Diversity Advisory Committee, and then there's a couple of at-large reps as well.
Any other questions or comments?
I think it's a great idea.
Oh, what's the time frame here? How much time do we have to find some?
4 days.
4 days, huh? So
You
no
mean on
rush?
Monday, right?
Well, I can bring it to my student government meeting on Thursday, and I'll let you guys know who would be interested. I know that I definitely will be interested in participating in that.
Excellent, thank you.
And this is exciting news, definitely, and I really think it's important that we continue to bring opportunities to students who have been waiting to be in leadership positions and have not been able to be part of any of the groups, people who are
maybe outside of, the groups that we already have, but that would like to be representing the communities they belong to as well, different communities. Something to keep in mind.
So I don't think there's a resolution, it's just more like, when you bring the
So do it.
composition, we're all in agreement that this is gonna be, that's how you wanna do it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And then that brings us to number 7, the regulation update.
Yes, so again, Chair Oliva, Superintendent Fujitaki, members of the board, thanks for the opportunity. The board obviously is responsible for policy work for the district, and then regulations fall underneath those policies. We have done some updating to the regulation of Policy 515, Protection of Privacy of Student Records. Cheryl Martin led a work group last year to look at this, and part of the impetus or the reason we started looking at it was with the district using Naviance and having e-docs, so electronic transcripts are available for students when they're getting ready to go off to college. It seemed like a great time to take a look at this regulation. It's really rooted in a more paper and copy machine sort of way of doing business, and we're moving away from that. So the recommendations coming before you tonight are to update that regulation so that no fees are charged to current students to get records and send them to colleges and employers because it's electronic. And then updated the rest of the regulation to just get more consistent on what we're looking at, and that's a $6 fee for past students or people who come into the registrar here to get records, because those are still paper and copy machine. The e-docs are students now moving forward. And got consistent with a 15-cent per page for any kind of third-party request. If we have legal requests or things like that, the firms would pay the 15 cents a page fee. I can tell you more if you'd like, but that's the update to the policy, or to the regulation under Policy 515.
Once again, since this isn't the policy, you're just bringing this forward as information.
Information, yep.
Just to say, just making sure that we're aware. Now, our 2 cents here, so this will affect them in that now they won't be required to pay.
Correct. And we've started down this road already this year, and anecdotal reports are people are happy not having to pay.
Yeah, I remember people bringing it up last year, or the last couple of years, like, it's ridiculous when we're going to college. We have to pay whatever, I don't know what it was. I thought it was only $2, but,
Yep.
So this is good, all right?
Yeah, they saved $6.
Yeah, save
Well,
$6
that's,
per school, right?
You could get 2 Whoppers for $6. I saw on the TV last night.
It's one thing you could spend it on.
Any other questions, comments? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that will bring us to then our board member reports. Who'd like to start us off?
I'll go ahead.
Sure, Director Bergeron.
All right, let's see, last Friday, I believe it was, I was able to make it over to Kennedy for the Avid contract signing. And this went on, there were a number of classes that went through. It was 8 until 1:30, something like that. And I was able to make it for the first class. We watched a short video of student testimonials from around the country. Avid is not just in Bloomington or just in Minnesota. And it was really, really compelling to listen to it. It was about 3.5 minutes, where all the students said, I started here, and through Avid I got to here, and each one of them ended their testimonial with, I was accepted to this college, and I was accepted to this college, and I was accepted to this one. And they're really very interesting stories. Nice to see so many students engaged in the Avid program. They do have to sign a contract. It is somewhat comprehensive, and they do have to bring it home and have either mom or dad or whoever's at home sign it, because it's a contract between the student and the caregiver at home. And there are certain things that you have to do. You can't stay up late. You can't have any sugar forever. But anyways, it's not just, this sounds interesting, I think I'll do it. There's more to it, and the student signs it, and then mom or dad sign it as well. And it's just really turned out to be a wonderful program. And I just want to say a shout out, a thank you to all those in our district who are involved in the AVID program. It has grown over, I think, the last 6 years. I want to say it was 6 years ago that it was put into place. And it's grown, I'm sure that it's met and is currently exceeding all the expectations. So appreciate the opportunity to go and participate in that. Attended Business Day over at Bloomington Civic Plaza. This was last week. It was part of the chamber and part of the Bloomington community. We listened to a panel of 5 business leaders. They all had different businesses. They all had different perspectives on what's going on currently in the business world. One of them was, I think he was with the Nerdery, and was asking with hands, palms to the sky, for more career tech people, for more kids that are interested in doing what they have to offer. They're looking for talented individuals. Maybe if you're looking for a second career, it doesn't have to be a student just coming out of school. Anybody that can go through their training and get certified and help them do what they do. They're always looking for people. So the conversation moved from the council chambers to roundtable discussion. I was able to stay for most of the roundtable discussion. Happened to sit at the table with the superintendent. It was just very, very interesting to see where the business community thinks they're going to be going in the next 3 to 5 years, and then occasionally you get someone brave enough to say the next 10 years. Attended an insurance committee meeting for Intermediate District 917. We went over the number trends. They switched over to self-insured now, both medical and dental, and we went over some interesting numbers there, and they seem to be doing very well. We don't have any cases that are extraordinary and not taxing the fund balance that was set up. When you first set up a self-insured, you have to ask more from your participants to make that pool of money that you'll pay your claims out of. So that was interesting. And also, congratulations to Jackson for making the commitment for 2 years to sit next to us on the 4th Monday of each month during the school year. We'll give you the summers off.
Thank you.
Thanks for agreeing to do this, and we're interested and we encourage both you guys to be able to share opinions and ask questions. So as you move along through the year, you can ask any one of us questions. You don't have to, if you don't have them here, please feel free to call us or email them to us. What does this mean? What does that mean? How does this work? How does that work? But it means a lot to have both of you here. So congratulations and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And that'll end my rambling for tonight.
Anybody else?
Okay, in addition, I had the Citizens Financial Advisory Committee that I spoke about earlier when Rod was presenting. I also attended the Early Childhood Parent Advisory Committee. That was, I guess, mostly organizational. They had a small group, and we're going through kind of their plans for the year, but they have a lot of great things planned for the early childhood, so it'll be exciting to attend some of those in the future. I also had a chance to do classroom visits at Normandale Hills, Southwood, and Valley View Middle. And I just wanted to highlight that when I visited the classroom at Valley View Middle, the students were just beginning a writing project. And she asked all the students to do a dedication in the beginning on who they were dedicating it to. And then I just happened to come at the right time, and so she asked if any students would like to share. And I would say almost every student, a large majority of them, shared and read out loud who they were dedicating to. So it was a very interesting and nice experience to hear some of their suggestions or some of their statements on their dedication. Also, I just wanted to say that I attended the meeting with Minnesota Department of Ed at Pacer last week around compliance and all of those issues that special ed has to follow. And one of the things that I found out about is the Department of Ed is doing this, the state systemic improvement plan, and they're working with 4 schools, Osseo, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Duluth. And it says it's a comprehensive, ambitious, achievable, multi-year plan that states will develop to improve results for children and students with disabilities and their families, and then increase the capacity of districts to implement, scale up, and sustain evidence-based practices that will result in improved results. And one of the things that they're looking at in these 4 schools are working on is the statewide 6-year graduation rate for American Indian and Black students with disabilities. So I thought that might be very interesting when they start looking for more schools after this, that perhaps that might be an opportunity since we have Dr. Heistad and all of his research. So I thought that might be something for us in the future. I think at this time they're just working with the 4 schools, but they did say they would be looking to expand this later. And the other thing that I took away from it is that OSEP, they had a quote that OSEP said, "Minnesota is a shining light of SSIP work and example for the field." So I thought that was a very compliment from the feds to the state on this work. So that's it, thank you.
Anybody else? I just want to thank all the board members and all the community that came out to the Heritage Days parade, and to the board members that walked and showed, I don't know, what did we show? Solidarity, that we were together, walking together, and the city council members that joined us. So thank you, everybody. It was a great event. Unfortunately, I had prior commitments. My kids had baseball and soccer and football and all kinds of things going on that afternoon, so I didn't get to enjoy much of the actual Heritage Days event, but the parade was a lot of fun. So thanks again for doing that. That, I guess, will bring us to superintendent report.
Great. Administration requests a motion to establish professional development sessions for the school board to continue the equity conversations with Andy Kubis as facilitator. The proposed meetings are going to be from 6 to 6:45 in room 601 at the Educational Services Center. The dates are October 9th, 2017, January 8th, 2018, March 12th, 2018, and May 14th, 2018. May we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Administration requests another motion to establish the following meeting dates for the Board Student Advisory Council. In 2017, Monday, October 23rd for high school students, Monday, November 27th for middle school students. In 2018, Monday, January 22nd for high school students, Monday, February 26th for middle school students, and Monday, April 12th for middle and high school students to prep for the food drive. May I have a motion, please?
So moved?
Second.
So that Monday in January, that'll be the organizational meeting,
No, this is the 22nd.
22nd? Okay, yeah, because the first one, okay.
So I remember last year, the high school students, they elected to meet even more frequently, so that was nice, so.
Yeah. So,
Maybe
yeah,
that
so
again
these,
this year.
yeah, so these ones are the ones that we put on our schedule, so that way, if a quorum of board members show up, we don't have to repost for it. And then the high school students at their prerogative could meet once a day if they want to, but I think last year you did once a month, right? Okay. So, all right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you. And the last item is a special thank you to the Bloomington Noon Rotary Club for providing 50 backpacks to the Indian Mountains Elementary School and 75 backpacks to Valley View Middle School. And these backpacks are full of school supplies. The Bloomington Noon Rotary has done this for a number of years. And I also want to thank the many businesses that provide school supplies to other schools within our district. All this generosity is very much appreciated, and it's needed by our students. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the board? Hearing none, call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.